Rick Harrison and Chumlee sentenced to life. Shocking truth.
Touch me like that.
The sound of labored breathing permeated the Las Vegas federal courtroom as the judge rendered the ultimate verdict. Rick Harrison and Austin Chumlee Russell buckled under the sheer magnitude of their sentences, collapsing in a state of profound shock. The electrifying scene left onlookers aghast, underscoring the raw, intense emotions enmeshing the case. It was an invaluable moment, one that seemed utterly inconceivable for television luminaries who had commanded the screen for so many years. In a single fleeting instant, everything was irrevocably altered as the final ruling was declared, heralding an unbelievable cessation to their public existences. But what precipitated this tense and startling confrontation between the cherished personalities of Pawn Stars and the unyielding machinery of the justice system? This incendiary legal conflagration was no mere lawsuit. It was a collision of image versus reality, a stark juxtaposition of adored TV stars against unpalatable truths. Herein lies all you need to comprehend about the legal warfare that erupted, delivering a seismic shock that fundamentally reshaped the public's entire perception of these icons of the History Channel. If your curiosity is piqued by the unrevealed narratives of the Pawn Stars figures and their arduous legal struggle, remember to engage by liking, sharing this video so that others may also learn, and by leaving a comment below to articulate your own reflections. Ensure you subscribe to the channel to avoid missing any of our forthcoming compelling videos. Now let us delve into the heart of the story. Harrison and Russell are broadly acknowledged as two of the most significant figures in the realm of reality television, renowned for their contrasting personas, their deep historical knowledge, and an unparalleled knack for infusing authenticity into every installment of Pawn Stars, the hit program on the History Channel. Their decade-spanning television careers are punctuated by iconic junctures, such as high-stakes negotiations, momentous historical discoveries, and unforgettable interactions that have enthralled millions of viewers across the globe. Nevertheless, their legacy extends far beyond their televisual accomplishments, encompassing their influence on the collectibles market, their contributions to the popularization of history, and their deliberate culmination in constructing a tourism empire in Las Vegas, thereby painting a portrait of entrepreneurs who metamorphosed a familial pawn establishment into a worldwide phenomenon. Harrison's television career was erected upon a bedrock of business shrewdness, historical expertise, and an unshakable dedication to the art of the deal. Despite initial skepticism surrounding the show's premise, he staunchly refused to be defined by the naysayers. Instead, he channeled his unwavering resolve into fortifying both the gold and silver pawn shop and his on-screen presence. This endeavor ultimately secured him a position as one of America's most recognizable entrepreneurs. His performances garnered critical acclaim, cementing his reputation as a sagacious yet equitable figure within the pawn industry. What distinguishes Harrison is his capacity to educate viewers about historical artifacts with both depth and accessibility, a quality that resonates profoundly with audiences spanning all demographic segments. While their television endeavors brought them fame, it was their behind-the-scenes business ventures that truly showcased their entrepreneurial mindset. After cultivating their personal brands through the show, they diversified into restaurants, retail outlets, and personal appearances, amassing millions, which later became the focal point of a legal imbroglio threatening to dismantle their meticulously constructed empire. The aftermath of Pawn Stars' success witnessed both legitimate enterprises and alleged criminal undertakings charting drastically divergent courses. The trajectory of the gold and silver pawn shop skyrocketed following the show's launch, transforming it into one of Las Vegas's most frequented tourist destinations, attracting millions of visitors annually. Their methodical approach to sales, coupled with robust brand recognition, positioned them as a resilient emblem of the American entrepreneurial spirit. Conversely, federal investigators encountered immediate hurdles. The intricate web of transactions spanning multiple states and business entities posed substantial obstacles, though a crucial piece of definitive evidence eventually surfaced: The stark dichotomy between their public business operations and the alleged clandestine activities fostered tensions that would progressively escalate over time. "We built this business on knowledge and fair deals," Harrison frequently asserted to reporters during the initial phase of the investigation. "But scrutiny makes you stronger. I was determined to cooperate fully, especially when the charges seemed unrelated to our actual operations." This resolve fueled a methodical and increasingly public approach to their defense. While many targets of federal investigations might have entirely eschewed commentary, Harrison and Russell maintained a carefully calibrated transparency throughout the process, all the while vehemently asserting their innocence. Press conferences convened to discuss the investigation's impact on their business garnered sympathetic attention, casting them as victims of an overzealous prosecution. The early 2020s presented a stark juxtaposition. Public support surged to new heights even as incriminating evidence mounted. Fan campaigns vociferously declaring their innocence amassed millions of followers, while prosecutors quietly compiled financial records, fueling growing concerns about the specter of a sophisticated criminal enterprise operating beneath the veneer of the legitimate pawnshop business. However, Harrison and Russell grappled with the escalating legal pressure, which threatened to expose their alleged operational deficiencies. Their legal team responded with increasingly intricate strategies. "Facing allegations completely at odds with our public image has been devastating," Harrison conceded in a rare, unguarded interview. "We turned to what we know best, transparency and truth, and hoped that would be enough for the public." This defensive posture stood in stark contrast to the prosecution's increasingly focused efforts. By 2022, the chasm between their public persona and the alleged criminal activity had become vast. While supporters clung to their belief in their innocence, federal prosecutors had meticulously assembled a case implicating them in over $15 million worth of illegal transactions and sophisticated money laundering schemes orchestrated through the pawnshop, details that would soon be unveiled in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. This culminated in criminal charges after years of painstaking investigation. A pivotal discovery during the 2022 audit of previously sealed financial records by forensic accountant Thomas Richards brought to light these intricate transactional patterns within their business accounts. You can clearly see systematic efforts to move illicit funds through legitimate business resources, specifically designed to conceal their origins, Richards elucidated during a congressional hearing that rapidly circulated among financial crime experts. The financial records became a central focus in legal circles as law enforcement meticulously analyzed the complex network of transactions between the pawnshop and multiple shell companies. A week later, prosecutors unveiled documents estimating that the operation had laundered approximately $15.7 million, employing sophisticated structures meticulously designed to obscure activities over many years. These were not simple accounting errors, the lead prosecutor asserted to the jury. These structures required intentional planning and sustained maintenance over several years. Both Harrison and Russell played key roles. This mounting evidence exposed an alleged financial crime scheme, seemingly providing the final catalyst in the case. Within weeks, federal prosecutors had constructed their case and filed multiple charges against Harrison and Russell, including conspiracy to launder money and extortion, offenses that could potentially lead to life sentences if convicted on all counts. These charges transcended mere monetary implications. They represented a fundamental assault on their core public image as honest entrepreneurs, built on knowledge and fair dealings, an image that had rendered them television icons. The legal actions sent shockwaves reverberating through the entertainment industry, with experts opining that this could potentially be the most significant case involving reality TV celebrities in history. Court records divulged startling particulars about the alleged criminal enterprise, operating discreetly behind the pawnshop's facade. Internal communications dating back to 2018 indicated that numerous associates had, in fact, forewarned of the possibility of exposure. However, overriding concerns about preserving their public image led to a calculated decision. The current structure carries an unacceptable risk of detection, one clandestine document stated, recommending an immediate reorganization before any further transactions were conducted. The inaugural day of the trial was indelibly shaped As Harrison and Russell entered the courtroom, financial investigators were palpably monitoring their every move, while government lawyers methodically arranged voluminous stacks of financial records before them. The beloved television personalities, who had once entertained millions, were now confronting the legal reckoning they had long managed to evade. Your Honor, this case involves a large-scale, systematic money laundering operation, the prosecutor commenced, detailing a meticulous investigation that revealed a facade of legitimate business, deliberately constructed while handling millions of dollars in illicit money. The trial quickly intensified as newly unearthed financial records were presented in court. Harrison was observed shaking his head decisively, occasionally leaning in to whisper to his lawyer as particularly damaging evidence was introduced. Meanwhile, Russell appeared increasingly distressed as the prosecution delineated his alleged role during the tense questioning process. Agent Miller, did your testimony state that Mr. Harrison personally directed these transactions? The prosecutor queried. His signature appeared on all the key documents, the FBI investigator responded, Upadana, and these signatures facilitated the establishment of shell companies specifically designed to conceal the source of the funds. The courtroom atmosphere grew especially taut during testimony regarding the timeline of the alleged operations. The expert stated that these financial structures were sophisticated enough to imply intentionality, not merely accidental, prompting the prosecutor to inquire whether they necessitated planning and widespread financial maintenance. The expert answered affirmatively, at which point Harrison, clearly agitated, adjusted his glasses. The judge admonished, "Please maintain decorum in my courtroom." Financial experts testified to the intricate nature of the alleged money laundering operation. These structures were designed with one primary purpose: to conceal the source of the money. Dr. Eleanor Jenkins, a forensic accounting expert from Georgetown University, testified, "The multiple layers of transactions did not serve legitimate business purposes. The defense strategy centered on the legal aspects of their business and potential misunderstandings of the complex financial arrangements, arguing that they had relied on professional advisors and harbored no intent to commit a crime. My client has built a legitimate business empire employing dozens of people," their lawyer contended, asserting that these financial structures were indirectly recommended by experts they trusted. As the trial neared its denouement, fans watched with rapt attention. This was not merely a legal battle. It was the potential downfall of cherished television icons whose appeal had been meticulously built on authenticity and expertise. Financial forensics became the linchpin of the trial, with accountants painstakingly tracing money flows across years of transactions. The figures were even more staggering than the sheer amount of money laundered. An estimated total of $15.7 million was funneled through complex networks of shell companies, costing an estimated $2.3 million to maintain, buttressed by sophisticated accounting systems designed to conceal this operation, adding another $1.8 million in operating costs. On the final day, the courtroom was besieged by supporters, some clutching Pawn Stars memorabilia, while others donned shirts emblazoned with the show's logo. The atmosphere was electric as Judge Eleanor Blackwood prepared to deliver the verdict after 8 grueling weeks of testimony in the case of the United States versus Harrison and Russell. If you are surprised by this narrative, leave a comment with the numeral 1. If not, leave a comment with the numeral 0. Now, let us continue this story together. The judge commenced the court session meticulously, considering the evidence related to finances, transactions, business operations, and the actions of the defendants over the past 7 years. The room was so hushed one could hear the rustling of papers as Harrison and Russell leaned forward, their hands clasped tightly before them. The court finds convincing evidence that the defendants engaged in systematic money laundering through sophisticated financial structures, the judge continued, particularly in creating and maintaining shell companies specifically designed to conceal the origins of the illicit funds. Harrison's eyes widened. Russell appeared visibly pallid, and their family members exchanged apprehensive glances. The court declared both defendants guilty on all charges. The judge stated with unwavering confidence, considering the scale and sophistication of this operation, along with the public trust vested in the defendant's positions, the court must impose the maximum sentence. The judge's ruling was unequivocal. Harrison and Russell would each receive a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 25 years, along with the forfeiture of assets linked to their criminal activities. The court sentenced both defendants to life imprisonment, with eligibility for parole after serving 25 years. The judge further decreed that all assets related to these illegal activities would be seized by the U.S. government. The reality struck them with the force of a physical blow. After a decade spent building their television empire, having become symbols of historical knowledge and entrepreneurial spirit, this moment was something they could not have possibly envisioned. Instead, the stark reality of a life sentence, a direct repudiation of their carefully constructed public image, felt like the final devastating episode of a series. No one anticipated it. Harrison's face turned ashen, beads of perspiration forming on Russell's forehead as the judge continued reading the full verdict. Additionally, the defendants were mandated to make full restitution. The judge's voice became a distant drone, drowned out by the roaring in their ears. The courtroom began to spin. Their lawyers, noticing something amiss, placed a steadying hand on their arms. But it was insufficient. The beloved TV personalities, who had entertained millions, had now confronted the legal reckoning they had long evaded. Your Honor, this case involves a large-scale, systematic money laundering operation. The courtroom itself seemed to tremble. The reality TV icons, once proud of their composure, now lay unconscious before the prosecutors and the assembled world. They are having severe physical reactions, a doctor present in the courtroom shouted. Pushing through the throng, "Give them space, someone call emergency services." As medical staff rushed in, photographers captured the scene that would dominate entertainment headlines worldwide. Rick Harrison and Chumlee, the cherished Pawn Stars personalities, were carried off on stretchers, the emotional weight of their legal defeat finally taking a devastating physical toll. Outside the courtroom, family members were briefly seen comforting one another, while executives from the History Channel stood silently in shock, declining to comment as they were escorted away by security. The medical drama swiftly overshadowed the legal verdict. Entertainment websites and social media platforms exploded with reactions as fans shared updates and messages of support, utilizing hashtags such as #PawnStarsJustice and #FreeRickandChum. 3 days later, still looking wan but having regained some measure of composure, Harrison released a statement through his lawyer. "We assert our innocence and will appeal this verdict with every available resource," he wrote with characteristic determination. "The truth will ultimately come to light." Concerns over their health appeared to have wrought a fundamental shift in the public narrative. In a surprising turn of events, some former business associates issued statements questioning the verdict. According to an anonymous source, many in Las Vegas considered the sentences unduly harsh. Although official representatives demurred from commenting on the possibility of an appeal or specific legal strategies, Russell's subsequent statement carried a defiant tone. "This fight is far from over," he declared through his lawyer. "While we face the toughest challenge of our lives, we still believe in the appeal process and the truth." The entertainment world buzzed with speculation about what might transpire next. "This case has changed the landscape of reality television," commented a veteran producer. "The contrast between their public image and these allegations raises profound questions about authenticity in this genre." Media observers noted that both men seemed prepared for a lengthy appeals process. Fan forums immediately ignited with conspiracy theories and alternative explanations. Although legal experts cautioned that appeals face significant hurdles, when asked directly about their clients collapsing in court, their lawyers offered a measured response. "The physical reactions you witnessed demonstrate the profound shock of innocent men facing an unjust punishment. We remain committed to proving their innocence through the appeals process." The legal battle had metamorphosed into something unexpected. A potential real-life crime story rather than a contrived reality TV plot. Interest in Pawn Stars remained robust, with streaming services reporting increased viewership despite the convictions, as viewers revisited episodes in search of hidden clues pertaining to the dual lives of these figures, whom fans had followed for years. The case may serve as a profound lesson about the often hidden chasm between televised personas and unvarnished reality. The collapse that shook the entertainment world was not merely about men reaching their breaking point. It could well be the incipience of a legal saga that will rigorously test whether their meticulously crafted public image can withstand the ultimate challenge. What are your thoughts on the shocking sentences handed down to the Pawn Stars? If you find this story compelling and wish to learn more about the Pawn Stars and their intense legal battle, don't forget to hit like, share this video with your friends, and leave a comment below to let us know your reflections. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any exciting upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.